Hello, great people. Hello. Do you still have strength to listen to you? I don't hear you. Are you still strong? Yes. I'm Konstantin Dmitrachenkov. I came from St. Petersburg. And I want to tell you about my story. So, in one of the morning briefings, daughter briefings on Monday, Ilya, and by the way, it was my first meeting, Ilya Zomba spoke about franchising, buying the franchise for the partner, for the future partner. It's not like buying going to the bakery to buy bread. And he said that it's really a very long, conscientious choice. And at the same time, at that very moment, Ivan Tikhov laughed out loud in the hall. And Ivan laughed because there was a guy next to him who came out to buy bread, and instead he bought the franchise of the year. That was me. Today I want to tell you about my first experience. I see that a lot of you are interested. My first time in business of public catering. I want to share this story about how from a very impulsive, prompt decision, I made all that way to be on the stage. There are two people living inside me, the Konstantin of the past and the Konstantin of the present. The Konstantin of the past invents something, Konstantin of the present finds the solution. I used to work for event industry, and very often I found myself in lots of restaurants, and I saw serious infringement of regulations, anti-sanitary conditions, total indifference of the personnel to what they were doing, no service at all, and the desire to open my own restaurant has been long-standing. But at that time, I never thought about franchise. And once I saw one of the videos of Dora Pizza, of our company, and I realized that some people are already doing something that I would like to do, that I would like to implement in my life. And I thought that, okay, together, probably it will be more fun. So I bought the Dora Pizza franchise. So some time ago, I built a pizzeria in Krasное Selo. Don't mix it up with Tsarskoye Selo, because Tsarskoye Selo is an attractive place near St. Petersburg. Krasное Selo is quite a different location, not less beautiful, but we are not favorite with the tourists. I don't know why. So in Krasное Selo, everyone told me that you cannot do business here. Business doesn't live in Krasное Selo. I heard it even from people who came here to be hired. And I heard it from the director of the furniture store, because I needed to move his store a bit because I wanted to build my pizzeria. And he said, Konstantin, you'll find yourself without a roof above your head very soon. Yes, and he turned out to be right. And I was without the roof above my head because I really sold everything in order to build that restaurant in Krasное Selo. Since everything was very new to me, I decided not to tell anyone about my plans because, first of all, I was really afraid to make it wrong. And secondly, I knew that if I start telling it to everyone, then I would hear, it won't work out, you won't be able to do it, and so on. You know, these sofa experts, they know how to do it and how not to do it. So no matter whom I told about it, every person predicted a failure. And for the first time in my life, I felt, and by the way, a lot of you probably felt it as well, when somebody's looking at you, you know, that sad look, and they're sort of crossing you out. I just thought that, yeah, I already felt like a failure. But I still suffered through it. I knew that Konstantin in the past gave me something that I need to fulfill, though the task was complex, but it was still doable. And you know, I can confess that in my life, I was very lucky because everything is easy in my life. I don't have a choice in most cases. I grew up in a family of a servicemen. My father was a submariner. Do you know what is the difference? Because you are given a task and you need to carry it out. No one cares how you are going to do it, but you need to do it. And, you know, it was really very helpful during the construction of our first pizzeria, because the first difficulty was to find an investor. I thought that 300,000 would be enough.
But it wasn't like that. People were looking at me like a crazy guy. 12 million in Krasное Selo, crazy guy. And you know, inner voice told me that it's time to change something. Thought, okay, Aura will help us. And I packed clothes into a suitcase and I decided to go to Moscow office, thinking that, well, there everything will work out. And my girlfriend, well, my wife, she's been my wife for 3 days already. She was used to that. She came to the door and told me, don't get back without 1.5 million. Well, you know, I'm married now, so it means that I found him. And I came to daughter office, and I had a certain plan. I started having Skypes with the partners that were already there, and I really want to thank those who I was calling. I got a lot of advice, a lot of experience shared from them. I got a lot of things except for investors' contacts. So, day X, day 3, I was on the 3rd floor in our favorite spot, famous spot, and I had a phone call scheduled for 5 p.m. and I was really nervous. I even took off my shoes to be more comfortable walking. So 5 p.m. came. I take the phone and I think my hand was shaking and I was looking at the screen. And there was a serious guy sitting in a car, and I looking at him, and he is asking me a question, and I start yelling at this guy, telling everything very emotionally, and I'm talking for 40 minutes. He didn't have a chance to ask another question, and I felt really like I was in a casting in movies. 40 minutes over, I exhale and I hear the phrase from him, Konstantin, you can count on me. 40 minutes, 2 million rubles, totally unfamiliar person. I felt just like that. Yeah, I'm a very merry person, deep within. And later on, I understood that we really match each other with the investors in terms of values. I really like when they support us and trust us without interfering with our operational things, accepting us the way we are. And we sent in the beginning of every month nice messages with nice numbers to them for that. And I think we we should carry on only with those, working only with those with whom we share the values. And by the way, I want to share this story. 2 or 3 months ago, one of our investors checked the reporting and saw that we make big purchases, oven, car. And the investor said, Konstantin, don't spend your money on that. You tell us, and we'll invest additionally according to our shares. You know, people, these people, they don't own us. They give us additional money, not for a share, but for the common benefit. Please applaud to such people. I really appreciate our investors, and we are mutually happy with our collaboration. You know, that was the forecast. We get this every month, this number, and you won't get any more than that. But you know, I staked everything on that, and it was the first and only time that I tricked investors. I promised 2.1 million, but it was a lie. We got 3.7 million within a city of 50,000 in population. So we got the money. Anyway, back at the story. We got the money and we started with the first construction. Who had any kind of construction going smoothly? Raise your hands, please. Yeah, exactly. You know, construction is crazy. You can be as ready for it as you want, but something will happen. You know, one Friday, I rented a place, paying a huge amount of money, and we have totally dismantled it. And Friday night, no one will pick up the phone at this time. I mean, the person who can answer the questions. And the head of the construction is calling, and I ask, what? He's saying, Houston, we got a problem. I was really like, oh. I started sweating, my knee started shaking, and I rushed to pizzeria, and he's saying, you know, see, our floor is too thin, and we won't be able to have a sewage system here, and this premises is not good for us. How come? And I told him, cut. What do you mean? Cut the floor. You know, I didn't understand that this is a problem. I didn't understand that if we cut, then we can have a window into magnet that is below us. But they got used to me. Okay, they cut the floor open, and it transpired that, okay, it's thick enough. And I came to the conclusion, so if an expert is calling you and telling you that you got a problem, it doesn't necessarily mean that you got a problem. It's number one. And number two, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have an expert calling you. 3 days before we were to open, looks familiar, right? I haven't slept for 72 hours. I was finishing with construction. I was tackling all kind of issues, starting from the cash desks, ending with furniture. And I made my head of construction cry. Literally, I mean it. He was crying. And the first order came, and then I understood, okay, it's real. The first order, the first happy customer. I still remember his name is Igor. He comes with his whole family. And our Olga, and, you know, our troubled faces. We were waiting for that so long. And it was the time when the whole team was doing everything for the first time. And you know, when pizzeria was open, a crazy number of people came to us, hundreds of people unfamiliar people who were following us on social media. They were just approaching us and giving their congratulations. Well, I can be emotional. And I went to the storage area and I thought that I'm about to cry. Anyway, after opening, I'll explain this kind of glance, this kind of stare. The first audit. One morning, during the third month of operation, I've just checked how clean the oven was, and I have put everything together. 9:45, and I come to the cash desk, and Pavel Korovnikov enters. Back then, I didn't know the guy. And I asked him, what for? We didn't do anything. And it transpired that it was not a planned audit. He came to a different pizzeria, and but they said, okay, you've already checked us, you can go to Krasное Selo. Lovely. And Pavel found only two things that were not okay. And it transpired that even he himself was amazed by the result. Just two remarks. And I came to the conclusion that if you do everything the right way from the very beginning, then the audit will be okay. And if you do it like this, you just live peacefully. And of course, first acknowledgement. Somehow, the information about us leaked abroad, and the editor-in-chief of some media in Finland got information about us, and he asked whether interview. And he came from Helsinki to us to Krasное Selo, and he was amazed by the cleanliness, atmosphere, and the contrast of our pizzeria with the nearby places. And during our meeting, I left for a while to deliver a couple of orders. For us it's totally normal, but for editor-in-chief of a Finnish business media, it was crazy. For him, it was something supernatural. You should have seen him staring at me back then. And that's our picture. I think I look too big on the screen. Yeah, and as a result of our meeting, Marty seriously offered his help in looking for investment in Finland, and he told me that we must enter the Finnish market with an approach like that. And using this opportunity, I want to say hello to Koti Pizza Company. Guys, we'll come to you. Next slide. Sorry, Splagger. A little more than 1 year passed since we opened pizzeria in Krasное Selo, and during all that time, well, nothing would have come true without the support of the people that were there for all this time. I want to thank our team for the brilliant work. Guys, you rock. Please applaud to them. They do deserve that. Louder, please. And I want to thank the managing company for the experience that you give us, for being very demanding in terms of quality. And I want to thank our investors for support and for trust, and thanks for sharing our values and views. And I want to thank our future investors for signing some contract maybe today. And I want to thank Kostya from the past, who once decided to get into all that, buying franchise and creating the tasks and goals and objectives for Kostya in future. Well, new challenges in front of us, but we'll talk about that next time. Please remember, all the limits that you have are only in your head, and it's true. I believe in Kostya from future, and please do believe in yourselves. Thank you.